stone. Any neuroscientist will tell you that the more you remember something, especially if it is emotionally charged, the more you will reinforce the pathway connecting the neurons. Simply put, the more you think about it, the more you feel it, the stronger the memory. Here is the interesting part. It is not just act of the recall and that strengthens and memory. Another factor shapes and even changes it. The state of mind you are in when remembering something. The implications of this transformative. Take a random experience, a relationship that ended years ago. Consciously recall it when you are miserable. You will naturally find yourself focus on negative parts and thus will grow stronger in memory. Conversely, same exact experience but recall when you are happy. Notice the change? It is still the same experience, it is still your mind, but the filter is different and the filter shifts focus, which subtly change the memory. More importantly, it changes how the memory makes you feel, the power it has over you. There is solution here, powerful one. If a painful memory arises, don't fight it, try to push it away. Your quicksand, struggle reinforce pain. Instead, go to love. Love yourself, feel it. If you have to fake it, fine, and it will become real eventually. Feel the love yourself as the memory ebbs and flows. That will take the power of away. And even more importantly, it will shift the wiring of the memory. Do it again and again. Love, rewire. It's your mind. You can do whatever you want. Next point is change. It's happening. Yes, really happening. I not slowly grin. Unbelievable. She says unbelievable. Through the window and cirrus below. Mountains of earthy brown, daybreak ahead. A clear morning. This high up, no human could survive. Yet we hurtle forward the hundreds of knots in aluminium tube, comfy in our chairs, sipping our sodas. Aryuska, she rests her hand gently on my arm now. It's happening, yes, really happening. I nod slowly grin. Unbelievable. She says unbelievable. Through the windows, rays below, mountains of earthy brown. Daybreak ahead, a clear morning. These high up, no humans could survive it. We hurtle forward at hundreds of knots in the aluminium tube, comfy in our chairs, sipping and sodas. Aryuska, she raised her hand gently on my arm and nervous. I look out for a moment and the land below already flattening the then or to her. No, I don't know how you can do that. Me, I am bucket of nervous. But this magic, I say. Why be nervous? That's not doing any good. I know that she says I do, really, but tell that do my nervous. I say, I think that I am starting to accept the magic, that life can be this way, that fantastic experience. And things, sorry, I continue. I know that she says I do really, but tell that do my nerves. I think that I am starting to accept the magic, that life can be this way. That fantastic experience, things I couldn't imagine within my reach are possible, are happening, will happen. That's what it is. She smiles, squeezes my arm, and then leans into my shoulder. She closes her eyes. I reach down and kiss her head, and softly smiling her hair, and then return to the window. Patchwork of browns and greens billows. How fast the lands charge and how fast everything is changes. Light switches. Richard Bandler and co-founder of NLP got known early in his career as someone who could cure and the schizophrenics within a hours, but he started getting called by doctor and patients, families to go mental institutions work with the worst cases, the ones everyone had given up on. One of his favorable stories is about an executive who started hallucinating and snakes and no one could convince him otherwise. He was committed, received treatment, no luck, so he was strapped and to his bed. Not very empowering when you believe snakes and crawling all over you in a mental loop. Hospitals and chalk up has one of the incurable ones. By the time of Bandler met him, he was in bad shape. To figure out what to do, Bandler went for a walk in town. He needed to snap this guy back to reality. He passed a pet store and noticed a barrel full of rubber snacks off the curb. He went inside, asked the man behind the counter if you could rent the entire barrel for few hours. There are the for sale. The man said, I don't rent the whole barrel. I need them, Bandler said, all, but only for few hours. Why? I am going to cure schizophrenia, Bandler said. Cool, the man said. Bandler chalked it up and the fact that since the store owner wasn't doctor, but his mind was open to cures that were out of norm. Turns out he also had few well-trained snakes, two cobras and one giant python that loved wrapping herself and around the humans perfect. The store owner and the bandler returned to the mental hospital, bags full of rubber and snakes, and three real ones went to the shower where the patient bathed and covered the place with them. The live cobras he put extra close to where the patient would be. The python right above where he had positions. The wheelchair finish he surveyed his work. It reminds him scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark and where Indiana Jones descends into chamber full of writhing snakes even through the scares anyone let alone. A person with heightened snake phobia. Keep in mind, Bandler once curved guy who thought he was judged by bringing the three muscular football players dressed as Roman centurions and wood for the life-size cross into hospital room. Then he proceeded to nail the cross together, pausing occasionally to measure the guy as the centurions held him down. By the time they were ready for the crucifixions, the man was convinced he wasn't Jesus. Even after the drama had passed, the cure stuck. The snake owner and doctor stood behind the one-way glass to the shower. Bandler brought the man strapped tight in his wheelchair. The moment the man saw the snake, he started screaming snakes. It was terrible sound and says from the very depth, man carrying throughout the hospital snacks. But the hip position, the man right where he could see the cobras in front and the python dangling above. Then he lifted and shut the door behind him. The man screamed and screamed. Bandler waited. Finally, he went in. The man saw him, was about to scream. The bandler, the cut off him off. Snake, snake. Yes, I know, Bandler said. Tell me which ones are real and which ones aren't. I will wheel you out. Otherwise, I am leaving you in here. Then he turned to grow rubber snakes, and the man said, motioning to the ground with his head, hallucinated snakes, and he motioned around. Then eyes up and python dangling a few feet above, dropping closer. Real snake. The caught Bandler of God. Guard and the man, when put to the test, was not only lucid enough to distinguish real from hallucinated, he could even tell which ones were rubber. Something even Bandler had hard time telling given how realistic they were. He wheeled the man out, asked him how he could tell hallucinated versus real. Easy, man said. Hallucinated snakes are see-through and had no all along reality was solid. Hallucinations were see-through, but his fear was so intense he would lose touch with the reality, and the Bandler taught the man to focus on the differences between the reality and hallucinated. That was the see through the snakes, and the man was cured. He still saw hallucinated snakes occasionally, but knew that they were not real. The power they had over him was gone. Fighting fear doesn't work, it just drags us closer. Once has a focus on what is real, but on the truth when the darkness. Don't fight it, you can't win. Just find the nearest switch and turn on the light. James Altucher's, in one of his best blog posts, talk about how he stopped negative thoughts in their tracks within a simple mind trick. Not useful, he tells himself is it is a switch of breaker of shorts and shapes patterns of the fear. In the last book, The Hunger Games trilogy, one of the main characters has been tortured by the capital. His memories altered so that he can't distinguish between actual implanted memories. His friends come up with the simple exercise. They tell him memories they know to be true, and they ask, and real or not real. Slowly, he learns to distinguish real from not real until his mind adapts the realize that not real memories have a certain shininess to them, and when in doubt he returns to the practice real or not real. Fear or when used property useful to serve, and the fail when rear blazing in fear, that was the no standing and the edge of the cliff but outside of his hijack, and that was the mind to the point where it's difficult to distinguish the mind and our thoughts fear itself. So these tools like switches exist when fear arises. Remember that is the hallucinated snakes, or that it is not useful and that's not it real. All three work. There are many more ones we can come up with the ourselves if we wish. As long as it works, it's valid. Key is this: when is darkness, have a light switch have in the chosen standing by. For example, in writing the book, fear says that I am risking what people will think of me doesn't matter. My role is to recognize it for what is hallucinated snakes, not useful, not real, and continue. Next point is ghosting. As I write this, I am probably the lowest I have been in while. Things are just so, not as bad as they were when I first started, but life is not zinging. The thing is, when life just works for a while and you get used to it, if you think I will stay that way, and recency uh, sorry recency bias, when things sucks when you are deep in it seems like they will suck forever. You can't imagine a way out. When things are great you live as if it always lasts. So I ask myself, if I was look deeper, why I am down, why am I down, why isn't my life an expression of awesomeness? Once you have experienced it and you know it's possible, then you should be doing everything in your power to keep it that way. It's just too good. The answer: I am lazy. When I was sick, I focused on my mind with the disparate intensity. But as life got good, then great, I started to cost. Let the mind drift. It's two natural devices. When days, then weeks without meditating, loving myself becomes something I assume but didn't work towards. I am now at the point that when I repeat the loop, I love myself, it feels strange. I find myself searching for a less powerful word so that feels right. But if you love isn't right, nothing else will be. The irony is, I am the one who shared, and this truth we friends. Love yourself, I told them. See what it did for me. It works, it really works. All true. But who wants to take financial advice from man barely scraping by? So I ask myself the one question: if I love myself truly and deeply, what would I do? I love this question. There is no threat, no right or wrong answer, only an invitation to my truth in this present moment. The answer is simple: I would commit to the practice, and I would also share the next things I have learned, which is don't let yourself coast and when things are going to great. It is easy to wish for health when you are sick. When you are doing well, you need just much vigilance. Honestly, it scares me little and coming from the dumps. When life works, it get it. But if your life is working and you too do the practice, how high can life go? Can I handle it? Hey, I do even deserve it. It's night streak, the monkey mind plays. So I return to the question: if I love myself truly and deeply, what would I do? The answer comes easy: I would fly as high as possible can, and I would fly higher. Now, if you will excuse me, I am going to go meditate it. Next point is thought. If we are made up of atoms and molecules, and they in turn from smaller particles which are empty space and energy, then what are we? Are we our thought? Even catch your mind a mental loop, replaying some old story and old hurt. The same pattern, who are you? And the thought of the observer of the thought. If you are the observer, then what is the thought? Or you are a thought observing another thought. Perhaps we are just biochemical storms within a synaptic connections in a brain that evolved over millions of years. Or maybe there is an observer, a deeper self. No proof either way. I am fine with not knowing, I enjoying thinking about it, but mainly do remind myself I ultimately everything this theory. I care about what works, what creates magic in my life. This I know, the mind left to itself repeat the same stories, same loops, mostly one that don't serve us. So what's practical, what's transformative is to consciously choose a thought, then practice it again and again with emotions, with feeling and with acceptance. Lay down the synaptic pathway until the mind starts playing it automatically. Do this watch enough intensity over time, the mind will have no choice. That's how it operates. Where do you think your original loops come from? The goal, if there is a one, is to practice until the thought you choose become the primary loop, until it become filter through which you view life, and then practice some more. Sound like work, perhaps, but the nature of mind is thought. Choose one that transform you, make your life zing. The one I found, I love myself, it is most powerful one I know. You might discover another regardless. Please do it. It's worth it. Next point is magic. I finish at the gym, walk outside and sit on wall by driveway. Indian summer evening, the sun, Francisco, breezy cool and fog above downtown delicious. I love my life, and I find myself thinking, I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. The thought flows as naturally as the wind. I watch the skyline. People ask why I let my long hair fall in front of eyes. It's for moments like this when I watch the world through the wisp of the silver. I love my life. I love my life. Clouds move above, thought shifts. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And I am smiling the gringing. All I am. My hopes, my dreams, my desire, faults, strength, everything. I love myself. If you can reach this point, if it is for brief moment, it will transform you. I promise you that. The key, at least for me, has been to let go. Let go of the ego. Let go of attachments. Let go of who I think I should be, who others think I should be. And I do that. And the real me emerges far, far better than the Kamal I projected to the world. There is a strength in vulnerability that cannot be described, only experience. Am I this way each moment? No, but I sure as heck I am working on it. Thousands of years ago, Roman poet wrote, I am human being, therefore nothing human is foreign to me. I believe it to be true. So if this is possible for one human, it is possible anyone. The path might be different, but the destination same. Key is being open to loving yourself. Once we do that, life is casually takes care of the next steps. Remain open to that possibility, and you will experience the beauty of watching the world around you dance, and while inside, you fully accept this marvelous, amazing human being you are. The feeling is for lack of better world magic. Next point is surrender. I once asked a monk how he found peace. I say yes, he would said to all that happens. I say yes. Before I got Before I got sick, the last things my Western mind wanted to say was yes, I was obsessed with my business, with visions of selling it, making enough money to never work again. You can argue that obsessions fuels innovations in our society. True, perhaps, but quite often behind obsessions is fear. And there was a plenty of fear of what people would think, fear of letting employee and investor down, fear of falling and what that would mean about me. I use fear as energy, driving me forward, pushing to achieve, pushing to succeed, and paying no attention to my body, to the present, and I am paid the price. Often, the price or for not being present is a path. Now I understand what the monk meant. There is a surrender to what is, to the moment. Whenever I notice fear in my mind, instead of pushing it aside or using it is fuel, I say no. I say to myself, it is okay. A gentle yes to myself, to the moment, to what my mind is feeling. Often that is enough to deflect the fear. From there is a I shift to truth loving myself. Knowing this, I realize that I still could have built a great company, had beautiful relationship, managed my health, and reached out to my friend before she passed away and told her how much I love her. Now I could have done all of this from place and gentleness, the place of self-love. But I can't erase the past, only learn from it. It's okay applying what I know makes the present and the future beautiful place to be. Belief. A side effect of the loving myself firstly was that it started to dislodge old patterns and thoughts and beliefs that I didn't even know existed. Whether having coffee within a friend or reading book, I would have flashed of insight to into myself. They were so clear. It was like my life was decked of cards, each within a pictures of situations I would experience, all falling down at me, flip, 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 and the only thought was, oh my god, it all makes sense. Here's one example. I have always known that growth it's important to be. If I don't feel like I am growing, I am drifting, depressed, and but what I didn't know until the practice of self-love show me was my belief about the growth. Real growth comes from the intense, difficult, and challenging situation. Can you see how that would define the path of my life? It was immediately obvious where it comes from. The first time I felt like a grief in a way that was no longer the same. I was for better. US Army infantry. Was it the challenging every day? Was it happy and joyful? No way. Centuries of military of the protocol designed it to be miserable, but it's something I have been always look at defining experience, one I am proud of. I went in I insecure 18-year-old. I come out knowing I could handle anything thrown at me. That was growth. What we believe, that what we seek, it's the filter we views our lives through. The I have actively thrown myself at intense and difficult situation, all situation where I grieve. But what price? Another example, in building my company, I came across as someone who was driven success. Many told me so. I thought that as well until I love myself. Then one day I woke up to spotlight shining on that belief, except the truth was slight twist. It was I was driven to not fail. Huge difference. No wonder my company went the way it did. The intense, the consistent work to keep moving it forward, one step away from disasters, always somehow pulling it up, then moving to avoid the next disaster, never failing, but never talking or taking off the way I knew it should. The good news is that once the spotlights shine from within yourself, there is no going back. The patterns of the mind that held you back all fall away from their own like rusty old armor you don't need anymore. With each insight, there is a freedom, to sense of lightness and growth. Next topic is oxygen. After I gave that talk to Resonance Weekend, one person said to me, "You must love others first." And I respectfully disagree. It's like what they tell you during pre flight instructions in case of emergency. If oxygen mask drop from above, put yours on before you help someone else. As I started to love myself, things inside me shifted. Fear strength and the ego. Love softens it. I become more open and vulnerable. It was natural to be gentle with others, even when they weren't loving towards me. And the times it wasn't easy, I had resources that loop, the meditation, the questions to return the self love. There is a power is in this. Rather than reacting the situation, I found myself choosing how I wanted to be. That I turn created better situation and I ultimately the far better life where I want to be. Lying on my back on a hill grass lightly tickling my neck. Beautifully sunny day, blue skies, clouds drip above each a thought. I watch knowing them for what they are rather than attaching my experience of the present to them. I choose the ones I want to focus on or not focus on, always my choice. The thoughts come drifting, twisting, turning in shapes. It is nature. I pick one for the moment and then let it go and never attach. Simply experiencing what I choose all through the filter of love. That's its end. The book could have been cover plus one almost blank page with two words in the middle, love yourself. But if I had picked it up and read it without knowing what I learned that summer, I wouldn't have applied it. At least not in one that but would transform many lives. So I have shared my brief learnings, thoughts and experiences. I could have filled it out more, but that only served my ego. Rather, the truth is simple, truth is succinct. I think that instead of reading loads of self help books, attending various seminars, listening to different preachers, uh, okay, we should just pick up one thing, something that feels true for us, then practice it firstly. Place our bet on it, then go all out. That's where magic happens, where life blows away our expectation. I found what to be bet on. It come from place anguish to place of no more, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can come from brain, a book lover. It can come from joy. If something else feels true for you, then do that. I really don't think the detail mattered, but what matter is the practice, the commitment to living your truth. The result are worth it. I wish that for you. Share. I wrote this book from heart to share something I learned, something that has been beautiful, transformative for me. Honestly, I was little scared to do it, putting myself and others like that. But friends who applied the practice pushed me right it. If it is wasn't for me, the book would not exist. And that is the beauty of learning sharing. You grow, you share the lesson and help others grow. Here's the magic. They in turn and make you grow. It is natural cycle. I hope you try out what I shared here. It works. If you would like to share it with your friends, please use the Facebook link below. Share with friends on Facebook. About book, about the author, I have been fortunate enough to have some amazing experience in my life so far. I have trekked to one of the highest base camp in Himalayas, mediated with Tibetan monks in Dalai Lama's monastery, earned my US Army infantry patches, walked 550 miles across Spain, live in Paris, been have non-woman member of the Black Women's Rights group, written a novel, held the hands of dying patients, and work with some of the best people in Silicon Valley. But the most transformative experience has been simple act of loving myself. You can find it online here. Books, author page, Twitter, Kamal Ravi, @Kamal Ravikant, blog founderzone.com. Please feel free the email at the k @founderzone.com. I would honorably review this book on Amazon. Thank you so much.